Good morning, everybody. We're really happy you're here today. For everybody on the West Coast, good morning. And everybody on the East Coast who's much closer to the weekend than we are, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this Friday for another edition of our Pioneer B1 webinars. Today, we're going to be focusing on the B1 Usability Package, which is an add-on for SAP Business One, and we will get into discussing add-ons and what those do. But in particular, we're going to be focusing on the dashboarding capabilities and the print and delivery automation that come with the B1 Usability Package. So my name is Ben Grassi. I've had the opportunity to work on several projects with Boyum dashboarding over the past couple of years. I have found it to be a great product. I'm really excited to share it with you today. I think many clients I've worked with have found a lot of great uses for it and capabilities with it. So really excited to get into that functionality and share that with you. My co-presenter today is Caitlin Hines. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Like Ben said, I'm Caitlin Hines. I'm a consultant here at Pioneer B1, and I have been able to configure multiple print and delivery, or I've done multiple print and delivery configurations for multiple clients. So I think it's an awesome tool, and I'm really excited to tell you all more about it.
Thank you, Caitlin. All righty, so let's go ahead and get going here. So our objective today is to really dive deep, well, not too deep, but dive into the Boyum usability package, which you'll hear us refer to as B1 Up or just Boyum, and really focus in on the dashboards and print and email capabilities. To start, I'm going to start with a quick discussion of what an add-on is for SAP Business One, as you may not have used them before, or you might already actually have the B1 Usability Package installed. Then we'll get right into dashboarding, and we'll talk about views and widgets and how to modify them. Then I'll be turning it over to Caitlin. She'll be working through some of the print and email automation or print and delivery with B1 Usability Package. We'll wrap up with providing documentation and close with some time at the end for Q&A. As always, if you do have questions as we go along, please go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll try to answer them as we can. Otherwise, we will respond to them at the end. So let's go ahead and get started here. And we're going to jump right into SAP to get started. So it's important real quick for understanding what is an add-on to SAP Business One. So out of the box, SAP Business One does provide a ton of capability and functionality for finance and inventory and sales. Add-ons, as they are called, add additional functionality to the core SAP Business One product. And one of the most popular ones in the industry today is the B1 Usability Package or B1 Up. So add-ons integrate with SAP Business One Client and extend the existing functionality. B1 Usability Package is created by a third-party company called Boyum IT. Some add-ons like Boyum do come with their own license module, but the dashboarding is included in that license for the B1 Usability Package. B1 Up does come with a plethora of other functions that we don't have time to get into today. Those include validations and function buttons, tab control, item placement tool, quick create, and I could go on and on about all the different features that come with B1 Up add-on. But like I said, we're going to be focusing in on the dashboards today. And if you can see my screen here, we actually already have our dashboards pulled up. Before I dive too deep into dashboards, I want to review a little bit of terminology because you'll hear me refer to different things today, and just so we're all on the same page. The entirety of the dashboard, everything highlighted in blue, which is this entire thing, is the dashboard. The dashboard is broken up into what are called views, which are up at the top here. So you can see my view, sales, purchase, etc., etc. So each view is then comprised of different widgets, which are your data points, or give you the ability to link into different areas of the system. So at the highest level, we have dashboard, and then we have our views, and then within the views, we have our widgets. So just really quick to understand how it's set up and configured before we really dive into it. So let me switch back over here. And you can see our dashboard here. And real quick, just to save on a little space here, I'm going to go ahead and close my menu just so I get a full screen of dashboard. When you install B1 Usability Package and you enable the dashboards, and at the end we'll go through a little bit of how to turn them on and a little caveats of running them. But once they're turned on and enabled, you do get 6 out-of-the-box dashboard views, such as sales and purchasing, finance, service, production, and calendar. And these are always enabled for any user that has dashboards turned on, but you can always add your own views. And today we're going to be spending a lot of time working in the My view over here, which is one I created. But these out-of-the-box dashboards come with their own widgets already defined in them. Now, if I want to maximize them, I can do that. If I want to make them smaller, I can move them around here. If I can click properly, maybe, there we go, and move them around here and really reorder them. And anything I do as Jason Butler, who's my logged in user right now, only affects me. So this doesn't change for other users or affect their dashboards. But I really do have the ability to move these around. Now, as we get deeper into this today, we will be talking about how some of these are formatted. You can see there's yellow progress bars here. We have delta values. All of this is out of the box with the dashboard functionality and can really be catered to your business to make the data more consumable to your users because SAP Business One is great at storing data. We have it all here in the database, but extracting it and pulling out and presenting it like this makes it so much more valuable to be able to make business decisions. So let's go ahead. I have my dashboards turned on here, and I've decided that I want to create my own view. These are great, but I really want to have my own central location that I want to work out of. So we have my view here, and right now I have no widgets in here. So I'm going to come up to the gears button, and I'm going to click Add New Widget. And I'm presented with a bunch of other out-of-the-box widgets. You see the financial overview, service overview, so on and so forth that we already have. And I'm going to act as a sales manager today, which I'm actually not, but I'm going to pretend to be a sales manager today. And I can go ahead and bring in my sales overview here. And again, this is just the out-of-the-box one, but it's important. It has some great data for me right out of the box that has already been configured. Item group sales, sales last 12 months. And we'll dive into modifying this in a little bit, but there's some other widgets I want here as well. So let's go. There's a report in SAP that I really like. I really like the open items list. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one and bring that in as well. So this is a report that you're probably familiar with in SAP. It comes with its own widget here in the dashboarding. I can select through different documents and see what's open. We got a lot of open sales orders here, 5.6 million we need to process through here in our demo database. But up here, this little icon with the person on it, if I were to click that, it's going to filter down the list to just activities or sales orders or sales quotes that are assigned to me. So I don't have any deliveries, I don't have any sales orders, I do have 66 activities I need to work through, but it's a great quick little way to start organizing your data and seeing what you actually need to work on. So let's keep going here. I'm still going to build out my view here that I want to see. So we pulled in the open items list. Let's go back and let's pick another widget out of this list here. I really want to give you a feel for the different functionality and capabilities. This process widget's a great one too. So the process flow allows you to either select an out of the box process that's already been defined, or more likely you'll want to create your own. So I'm going to click the sales order process here. Let's say I have a new employee that's just starting with me and they're just learning the system, or they're just learning our business flows. The process widget is a great way to visually display that. And of course, if we were to click on this, it's going to take us right into that document in SAP. So we have a quick and easy way of seeing where we need to be in this system and what we're working on. This is, again, completely editable based on your needs. So if I were to come in here and click on Edit, we're going to load up a process flow editor, which again, this is all part of the dashboard. And we want to get rid of this printing step. So I can come in here and clear this process out. I don't need that. And maybe we've decided that we want to start using sales quotes as well. So I can come up here and we want to start with a sales quote. So I go to select, And I click on my Sales AR drop-down menu, and I can choose Sales Quote here. And then I can choose an icon that represents it for me. So we'll just add a little document there. And then I can add my process flow so I know what's next in the process here. Additionally, you can add sub-menus to these as well. So you see here on the sales order, we have a little drop-down arrow. These are all the sub-targets that we can add, and we can add more. So we already have my activities and document printing. Let's go see if there's something else under sales we want to add here. Maybe we want to add or we want to access our open items list right from here. So once we add that and update, when we click the drop down here, we now have easy access into other parts of the system as well. So these drop down arrows can be really useful on the sales order process to get to sub menus or to get into other information that you need quickly and easily. We're going to keep going here. There is another widget I wanted to share. This SQL report grid. So as you probably are familiar, you probably have a lot of reports running up here in your query manager that you've created that you run daily or monthly or whenever. But with Boyum and B1 Usability Package, you can create your own SQL reports that can run. And I created one here, so I'm looking at active BPs with current month sales greater than $1,000. And if I select that, I then get that query to run here on my dashboard all the time, and I can see the data here, and I only have a few data points, but I can see the data. I can quickly come in here and group by this column so that I can then expand it out later if I want to. So it's a really great way to have that data that you need most often right in front of you on your dashboard when you log into the system. And if you don't want it, it's quickly just go ahead and delete that. Now, I did want to share, especially if you already have B1 Usability Package installed, if you're already using the dashboards, they actually created a new widget that I think is great. And to add this new widget, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create another view. So we already have my view up here. I'm going to come up here and choose Add Edit View Settings. So you can see my list of views here, and we're going to go ahead and add a new one. And we're just going to call this one a Kanban, if I can spell. Kanban. And we'll go ahead and set a refresh time on that to 15 minutes and click update. So when it saves, we're going to have a new Kanban view up here, and we don't have anything loaded there yet, but let's go ahead back to our widgets, and we'll choose the Kanban board, which is a new widget with the B1 Usability Package and dashboards. And we can go and choose a pre-configured one, or again, we can build our own from a SQL query to display the information we need, but we'll choose the sales opportunities. And it's going to load up a drag and drop functional Kanban board here of all of our sales opportunities, broken out into their different stages. And again, it is drag and drop, so we can easily come in here and drop this into another column here to update it. We can drill into it and see what's going on with our opportunities. And as a sales manager, this is really useful to me because I can visually see where each of my opportunities are, who they're for, what we're working on, and keep a better eye on the data in our business. And of course, these are completely editable, and you can create your own Kanban boards as well with a SQL query to display data that you need to see. All right, so we've gone through adding a view now and going into a couple different widgets. What I have also prepared to wrap up before we get into all the configuration and more caveats of the dashboards and other functionality, one of the most powerful options within them is the ability to modify them with your own data, because all of these out-of-the-box reports are great. But let's say I, as a sales manager, have really specific information I want to see. So I can come in here and click Open in Dashboard Editor, and it's going to load up a designer for me. And this designer, again, comes with the B1 Usability Package. And across the top, you can see all the different types of graphical representations of data we can see. You have a bunch of other features up here, editing colors, changing currency, all sorts of different features and functions that we don't have time to get into today. But I want to build out this view to meet my names, this widget to meet my needs a little bit more. So right now I really don't care about sales per item group, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that to make some space. And I definitely don't care about my top 10 customers. I'm kidding, we always care about our top 10 customers. So I'll go ahead and delete that. I'm going to go ahead and start by adding a chart here. And all I did is I came up here, and I'll show that again. All I did is I came up here and I just selected the graphical representation I wanted, and it's going to add it here to my view. And then we can go up here to data source and click add query. And this is where you can build your own queries to pull in data that you want to see. Now, fortunately, I have already written a couple queries for you today, so you don't have to sit here and watch me struggle writing through this. But this first one is going to show us total order amount for the current month. So all the orders that we've placed this month, total order amount, and it's also going to pull in a specific item group order amount for printer sales. So let's say we just started a new line of product of printers, and we really want to see how we're doing selling printers versus our total sales per month. So I pulled in that query and I added it here, and it just says query. So let me go ahead and rename that real quick so I know what it is, because we have other queries in here. Current month versus printer. Great. So we named it and we know what it is, and it pulls in all the fields here that we've added to our query. So we can actually just start building out our chart right now. So let's go drag our printer sales up here. And as we drag and drop, it's going to start pulling in this information into our chart here. So we brought in printer sales, and we can add another bar here for total order amount. And if we want to rearrange those, we can easily just drag that up and say we want to see total order amount first. And then on this bar chart, and let me go ahead and make it a little bit bigger here so you can see what's going on. We want to add an argument. So we are viewing this data by sales employee. So we can add that down here. So now we've split up our total order amount by Brad Thompson and sales manager, who is me. And clearly I'm not selling as much as my employees. So, all right. But once we have this built out, we can come in here and do edit names. So let's give this a name. So current month sales and printer sales, and we can rename our series as well, total order amount, and we'll just leave this as printer sales. That's good. So we can quickly change the names we want here. If we go under the design tab, we can change the colors we see. Up here also for the bar chart, if we go under Y-axis settings, we can change the format of the numbers or how we want the data to be viewed. So there's a lot of different ways to customize this and configure it so that it presents the data in a way that is easily consumable to you and or your users. So if we wanted to format the numeric values, we can come in here and choose a different, so maybe we want to see this as currency, and we want to see it in the thousands place or whatever. We can very easily come in here and make those modifications to how the data is going to be viewed by us. And then once we're done, all we do is click save, and it will save our changes here. Now, since we do have a little bit of time left before I hand it over to Caitlin here, I did want to build one more that I think is really cool. So up here, I'm going to go ahead and add a gauge. So a gauge is a great way of tracking your progress towards a goal. And again, not to bore you today, I already have a query written, so we'll go ahead and click add query. In this one, in my organization, we like to track the number of activities that our sales employees put in a given month, because we find that the more activities leads to more sales for us. So we can pull in our monthly target here. And again, it's going to start building out our actual widget here that we can view. And we'll go ahead and edit names again. So we'll call it current month activities. And with this gauge, you can really see, let me type and not talk at the same time. Great. You can really easily visualize your goals here and your progress based on having a query run in the background continuously and just updating these widgets for you. So great. we've added some information here that we like to see. So I'm just going to come back to home here and click save. And once that's saved, we can close this out, and we don't need this anymore. Once we come up here and click reload my views, we can now see that here on my view, we have our current month activities and our current month sales and printer sales widgets that we just created. And of course, all the other widgets that we already have here are still present as well. It is that easy to build these out with your needs, especially once you have the SQL written, to pull in this data and view it in a way that makes sense to you. A couple other points before we get into a few caveats and configuration options here. You'll see that you can also do delta values, which I have found with several clients is extremely valuable. And basically all this is doing is it's comparing current year to date item group sales to previous year to date item group sales. So you have all this data again in your SAP database. And with the B1 dashboard, you can visually see how am I doing compared to this same time period last year. So this is a really great way of viewing the data and seeing how you're doing year over year or month over month. And you can break these out by any category you want. Maybe you want to see how your sales employees are doing year over year like this. Whatever data point in your system you want to see, there are ways to pull it into the dashboards here and view it so that it makes sense to you. So before we hand this over to Caitlin to talk about print and delivery, there's just a couple other things I want to touch on here. There is a transfer views between users options, which is really useful because if you are the power user in the system and you build out all these great views and widgets and dashboards, you don't want to have to log into everybody's SAP session and rebuild them. The transfer of views between users is restricted to super users, and there is an authorization for it. But this does allow super users to share views they've created with other users here, which is a really easy and simple way to create it once, share it across your organization. The B1 or the dashboard functionality also, one of the unique things about it as a module within B1 Usability Package, the add-on, is that it is a module that you can turn on and off, and it also can be set to exclude certain users. So if you already have B1 Usability Package installed, I just came here under B1 Productivity Config, and we have used B1 Dashboards turned on. If we click the ellipses button next to it, we see options to include users and exclude users. So even if a user has a B1 Usability Package license, if you don't want them viewing the dashboards, you can exclude them here very easily so that they don't see this data. And you can also restrict which views they see by not sharing them with them. So different things like that you do have options for. There is also impersonator user functionality, which allows me to select a user and view their dashboards, which is really great when you're setting them up to make sure that everything's set up properly and configured properly. You also have a scheduling function, which does allow you to send out emails or images of the dashboards on a schedule, which is, again, a great way to share data out of the system daily or monthly or whenever you want to share the data to send this dashboard data out. With each dashboard widget, you can export it, you can print it, export to Excel, whatever it may be, so you can get this data out of the system really easily and bring it to a meeting. So if there's always data you like to present at meetings, dashboards are a great way to have that built all the time and then just pull it when you need it. A couple other items real quick. Down here on the right, we have a hide dashboard option. So if you want to get back to your main SAP landing page here, you can do that. Show dashboard. And then the final thing, this is more of a housekeeping configuration option. B1 out of the box does have what's called the SAP Cockpit, which is their version of dashboards, especially in SQL. The SAP Business One Cockpit and B1 Usability Package dashboards cannot run side by side, so this does need to be turned off and enabled in order to view the B1 Usability Package dashboards. All right. So that was a really brief overview, just touching the surface of everything that's involved with the dashboards and everything you can do. There's a ton of functionality, a ton of different ways you can view data, and we could go on and on and on. But I don't know if we have any questions in the chat at this point. Actually, I do see a question from Jake Beck that I can answer real quick before I pass this over to Caitlin. So the question is, do these dashboards update in real time without clicking update or execute? They can be set to update on a timer. So the views up here, if we go back to add edit view settings, there is an auto refresh setting. So you can turn on how often you want this to refresh or not refresh at all. So it is an option for how often you want that data to refresh, but it's not instantaneously unless you set it to every 1 minute, which you can do if the data is that important to see every 1 minute. If there are no, I do see one other question from Professor Markley. The Kanban boards are new. They just came out. He was asking, do many customers use the Kanban boards? They just came out a couple months ago, so I don't know how many customers are using them right now, but I think it's a great addition, especially to be able to visually see your process flows through the system. All right. Well, if there are no other questions at this time, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Caitlin, so that she can start walking us through the other half of our presentation today, which is the print and delivery automation also within B1 usability package. So Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Ben. I love seeing everything that you do with the dashboards. There's like the options are endless here. But also, before I get into some of the awesome automation features that print and delivery has to offer, I want to show everyone some of the lightweight out-of-the-box features that SAP has regarding printing and emailing. So first things first, if you come up here to the top toolbar and click on this white envelope here, this pulls up your actual internal email within SAP. I'm going to say, no, I don't want to attach an edited email report. So you see here, this pulls up an actual physical emailing window. So I can click here to add a recipient if that contact is saved within SAP. If I need to send an email externally to a person who might not be saved in SAP, I can always right-click, add a row. And I can type in their name, choose to send an email, their email address. This is also available for text messaging and faxing. You can add your text here for your email body, your subject, change the priority, and add an attachment if you would like. Just by clicking this browse button here, it'll pull in some of your files saved on your computer. And if you hit send, it should send out, and you can check this messages and alerts overview window here to see if your emails has sent. So this is one I sent a little bit earlier. It hasn't sent quite just yet. And then you can see if you have any emails coming in, how the status of your sent emails and any sent messages with internal SAP. Moving on, I want to take a look at the document printing feature. So document printing can be seen under multiple modules in SAP. Here, I'm just going to pull it up from my Sales AR module. And let's say I want to send out, I want to print out all of my goods, receipts, POs from this month. As you can see from this document type dropdown, there's many different types of documents that you can mass print with out-of-the-box SAP. And so just in this case, I'm going to do goods receipts from, let's say, this week. Because my warehouse manager needs to review all of the goods that are coming in, make sure it matches our goods receipts, POs, and he likes to look through it with a physical copy. I'm going to leave this information here blank because I want to pull in goods receipts, POs from any and all business partner. I'm clicking only documents still to be printed and still to be emailed, because if it's already been printed or emailed, then that means that we've already gone through and reviewed those documents. And of course, I want to see the open documents. So I'll just click OK here, and you see I have 3 documents from this week that have come in. I can individually click one at a time. I can control click if I want to click 2 of them, or I can select none, and I can select all to print all of them. And you see here, the print option will come up, and I can choose whichever printer I like and then hit print. All right, and another feature that's standard out of the box SAP is printing or emailing a document on add. So I can go into system initialization and print preferences. If I go to per document, let's say I want to print out and email all of my sales orders right as they are added. You can choose the document type. You see I chose sales order, and I want to select print and email document. Another feature that's great about this is if you have a sales order that's waiting approval, you can block that print or email, because obviously you're not going to want to email a sales order out if it is yet to be approved. And then all the way down here on your email subject line and your email body, you can type in a predefined text that will autofill into your SAP Business One mailer when you click add on that sales order. Okay, so moving on to the print and delivery feature that Boyum has to offer. So first thing I want to show you is mass delivery. And I'm going to use this awesome search function up here to find it. So I want to email out AR invoices. This email AR invoices function, I have already defined this earlier, and we'll review how we got there to this point right after this. I'm going to choose the report configuration that I have also previously created and the report action that I've previously created. If I am looking for AR invoices between a specific posting range, I can enter that here, and you can see these awesome checkboxes down here. If I want to include documents that have already been handled by print and delivery, I can select that. So by default, B1 print and delivery, they recognize if a document has already been handled, and they realize most of the time you probably will not want to see that document again. You can check that if you do want to see it, otherwise it won't pull in. Same thing, let's say you've manually printed a document, you're not going to want to print it again or see it again. Unless you do, then you can check this button here. And open or close documents, up to you. In this instance, I do not want to see any canceled documents. And this preview checkbox here is really an awesome feature, because if I don't have it selected and I click OK, it's automatically going to email all of the AR invoices that are pulled in based on a SQL function that I've set up that we'll review in a minute. But I do want to view this. And, oh, let's see, I actually want to only view from, let's say, this month. Okay, so you see I have 3 documents here. You can drill in and take a look. You always want to review the contact person, because, again, we'll review later. The way I have the report action set up for this, it will send to the default contact person on the AR invoice. So I am able to select one at a time. I can select all, select none, and then if I hit OK, you can see down at the bottom here, it is emailing out and has emailed out all 3 of those invoices to the contacts. So moving on, I'm going to show you a little bit of how we got those emails to run all at once. If we go to the add-ons, B1 Usability Package, Module Configuration, and B1 Print and Delivery, you see those are a lot of clicks. This would be something that would be really beneficial to put in my Common Functions widget up there. First, we're going to look at this mass delivery configuration that I've set up. So we ran the mass delivery. We have to configure one beforehand. So as you can see here, this is mass delivery configuration. I've left this here blank so that it can run for all users. All users have access to this mass delivery. If I want to exclude anyone, I could put that here. In this document type dropdown, Boyum gives an option to have a defaulted SQL statement pull in. So I was able to choose an AR invoice, and they automatically pulled in this select statement for what I wanted to see. There also is a custom function all the way at the bottom here. So let's say I have a user-defined table, a user-defined object. Just with standard document printing with SAP, you would not have the option to mass print those types of documents, but with print delivery, you would be able to. And let's say this, basic select statement here is great, but for my AR invoices, I don't really care to see any invoices or send any invoices that have a balance of 0. So I added in this where statement here so that those won't be pulled out and they won't be sent. All right. And moving on, another part that is crucial for setting up your mass delivery is this report configuration here. This report configuration can do lots of different things. You can see each of these columns has a different button that you can press that will trigger this action. So I have currently for our mass delivery an email button and a print button set up. If I drill into this email button, you can see this is a dynamic email report. Here's just a little view of the different types of reports that you can view. But in the subject line, you see that I have this funky looking $8 number information. This is dynamic syntax that Boyum uses, and this will pull in the actual invoice number from your document. And the same thing down here in the body, I'm using just plain text. You also have the ability to use HTML, and within HTML, you can encode SQL syntax if you're not comfortable using the Boyum syntax here. But as you can see, the date that my invoice is due on will also pull in here. You also have the ability to include attachments onto these documents. So this is really powerful for if obviously you're going to want to attach your invoice. If you are sending out a sales order or you have any marketing promotions that you want to add, as long as you have your attachments file that is defined in your general settings in SAP. As you have that attached here in the name of the document, you can choose the attachment type. So typically either a PDF or maybe even a CSV file. You can add that here. You can also add multiple different attachments. I'm not sure what the limit is, but there's really no limit to how many attachments you can add. And then moving down to who you're going to send this email to. By clicking this add button, you can add a new row for people to send emails to. So you have the option to send it directly to someone, CC someone, or blind CC someone. In this case, as I said earlier, we want to send the AR invoice directly to the selected contact person on that AR invoice. I also myself want to see every AR invoice that is going out. So I'm just going to direct email and a CC to myself. And let's say I want to blind CC a manager. I could add them in there too, but let's say I decide I don't want to blind CC anymore. I just click that and I can just remove them very simply. Another feature to look at here is your client delivery method versus your server delivery method. Both of these have to be defined. In our case, we have SMTP setup, which is just the basic SAP mailer system, but you also have the ability to use your Outlook if you have Outlook email in your organization, or you can use Microsoft Exchange, which is a more secure version of sending emails, but you do have to have an additional application installed to use this. Okay, another great feature is the crystal reports. If you drill into here, I can choose, since I already have a crystal report action defined, I can click on there and select it. We can drill in to take a look here. The great thing about the crystal report definitions here is that Boyum can recognize all of the parameters that are already set up in this crystal report. So I drilled in here, and it'll pull up the documents that I have saved to my share file. And as soon as you click refresh parameters, that's when all of your parameters are going to pull in here. So again, if you want to attach your the AR invoice crystal report that you have set up, looks great, you can send it there. This here is a report action that you can set up whenever you click the print preview button up here, the add button on a document you can add like we saw earlier, and so on. Okay, so moving on to one of the most, I think, one of the most exciting parts about print delivery that I love working with the most is the schedules. Let's say, I'm sure many people have reports that they have to run once a week or send out once a week. I know a lot of people in finance have come to me trying to find a solution to sending out these huge reports every month that is just takes so much time. This is the best solution for that. So as you can see here, I have already pulled in that mass delivery that I've selected. And this lets you run that mass delivery on a schedule as frequently or as infrequently as you would like. So I've selected my mass delivery configuration, the report configuration I want to run with, as well as, again, the report action I want to run. You do have the option to input an email to see if this schedule sent successfully, but you are also required to enter an email to see if this schedule errored out and did not send. So that's a great function where if for some reason the schedule didn't send, you know right away. Here on this filter tab, you can choose a posting date. This really is good. This is just conditional. If I want to run it for a specific posting date, I can add that here, a specific branch. These are the same filters and conditions that we saw on the mass delivery configuration. And onto the schedule tab, you can see here, I have these running every 1 hour. However, if I want to run it every 1 minute, or even if I only want to run it one time, or once a month, I can set it here. I can set it for the time of day I want this to start. So let's say I want it to run, let's say I want to run it monthly on the 1st at, at 2 a.m. I would set that here. Also, you can choose, if you want a specific start date, you can set up the schedule prior to the start date, and then it'll run immediately on this date. If you want an end date, you can also define that there. So let's say you have a promotion going out that you only want to be sent out for 1 month. And then again, just like in the mass delivery, instead of having a checkbox, we have this preview button down here so that you can review the type of schedules that are pulling in for you to see. So you can make sure that, you know, the correct information is going to be sent out on a schedule. And so that is all I have for my demo right here. Ben, if you want to bring it back to the slideshow.
Thank you, Caitlin. Yes, let's hop back over now. And now is the time, if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. So to wrap up, there is some documentation here for Boyum Print Delivery, the B1 Usability Package YouTube page. As always, our tips and tricks LinkedIn page. And since SAP Business One is so popular across the world, Google is always a very useful tool to find information you need on this. And as I said in the beginning, Boyum is hands down one of the most popular add-ons in the space right now. There is a plethora of information that can be found online about it and its functionality. So to wrap up, we covered B1 Usability Package and add-ons at a very high level. We dove deeper into the dashboarding functionality included with the Usability Package and talked about views and widgets and how to modify them. Caitlin went through the out-of-the-box print and email functionality within SAP Business One and did a deeper dive into B1 Usability Package print and delivery, which is part of the add-on that we've been discussing today. So we have about 10 minutes left, or 15. We can open it up for some questions. If anybody has questions about anything we covered today, we'd be happy to take those now. And we just thank you for joining us. Our emails are here at the bottom. And as always, if you are more interested in the B1 Usability Package or getting that add-on installed, always reach out to your project manager or to the support desk, and we can certainly help you with that task. So any questions in the chat, Beth, or anything that came in while we were talking?
It looks like Professor Markley just said we're the most popular B1 Up features with your customers. I would definitely say, and Ben, you can add on to this if you have another thought. Definitely the dashboarding is a big one, and print and delivery is a big one as well.
So the two we covered today.
Yeah, the two we covered, I would say, are the most popular.
Right. But as a real quick showing, the function buttons allow you to place up to 10 buttons on an SAP Business One screen that will perform some action for you. They run behind a validation or a SQL statement. So the function buttons are really powerful. And then there's also what are called validations, which
Right.
basically allow you to validate data before you add it to the system in a lot of ways. So it's a great way to catch errors before they're actually entered in a Business One screen. But there's also the quick create functionality, tab control, which lets you choose where your cursor will start on a new screen. And again, so there's a bunch of different functionalities here that you can see. Master Data Manager is actually a lesser known one, I think, but can be really popular. I don't have it turned on today, but it basically allows you to manipulate large sets of data via like a wizard setup that Boyum provides. So the Master Data Manager is a really cool tool that I think is a little actually underused by customers.
I would also say Quick Create is another one that I don't see a lot of customers use, but it can be really helpful. So it helps you quickly create customers, vendors, items, some of those same master data items. But just those few fields that are really important to get that data into the system.
I really appreciate how we deviated from the most popular features to the most underused, but
exactly.
So there's a lot in there. So you don't just get the dashboarding functionality. There's a bunch of other features that we can explore as well. Jake, where can I find the recording for this webinar? So I'm not sure if we send it out, Jake, but I do know it will be up on YouTube on our YouTube page, hopefully early next week, if not today, depending on once we convert it and edit it and all. Any other questions? Anything else you wanted to see? Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and switch back over. Our email's here. If you do have additional questions, always feel free to reach out to us or our support desk if we can help. And everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.